I mean, I didn't see you over the phone, but I remember. Did you find your cat?
All right, folks, I think we are about ready to get started. We've got some more seats open over here on the side, plenty over there on the east side. I think that's the east side of the room over there. Yeah, am I oriented correctly? Come on in, everyone. We are straight up 7 p.m., so let's get this rolling, shall we? Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Third Place Commons. My name is Erica Olson. I'm a Kenmore resident. Right? Yeah, I was waiting for that. Notice I paused for reaction. I also serve on the board of Third Place Commons, so I am especially glad to warmly welcome you into this space tonight. This is exactly what this space exists for. So I'll be your moderator tonight, and I am pretty excited to be doing this because the town hall is an enduring tradition that has been with us since the very beginning, earliest days of our American democracy. And that's pretty cool to continue to uphold that tradition. So can we just have a little round of applause for ourselves? I really thank you for taking time to be here this evening on a Wednesday night and for participating. It really is important. I would encourage us all to listen with a lot of curiosity tonight. We all have our own unique perspectives, our own life experiences, and it's important that we do bring curiosity and that we speak with respect. This is not a debate. This is a town hall. We're all neighbors here together, even those of us who are from down the road in Kenmore. Also, please, if you wouldn't mind, take a moment to mute your phones. That's always helpful. Good little reminder. I had to just do that myself a moment ago. Also, really want to thank the sponsors and the organizers of tonight's event, the first ever town hall, community organized. So big ups to the Lake Forest Park Rotary, Third Place Commons, LFP Climate Hub, and Lake Forest Park Stewardship Foundation. Big thanks to this group for pulling this together in what we hope will be an annual event. So here's how things will go tonight. In just a moment, Mayor French will officially open this meeting. This is an official meeting of the LFP City Council. It is being recorded, and the recording will be posted on the city website. So that's good for you all to know. After the meeting has been officially opened, he and all of the council members here on stage will have 3 minutes apiece to speak. We have asked them to talk about what their goals are for council and also how they represent the city across the region. They serve on various boards and commissions and committees. And so we think that's helpful information for you all to know. Once we get through that portion of the remarks, then we're going to go to the Q&A. Also important to note, we have not pre-screened these questions. We're going to hear these questions in real time with you all. When we do begin the Q&A, we've got folks on either side of the stage who will be holding the mic. Thank you, Diane. Thank you, Alan. And so when that time comes, I'm just going to invite you to file up and line up here on either side, and we'll alternate with questions going back and forth. And we'll hope to get in as many questions as we can, because that's the real focus of doing this tonight. We will wrap up at 8:30. After that, you are welcome to stay and continue to have conversation with your neighbors and your council members until the Commons closes at 9 o'clock, and then we will have to invite you to go home. So without any further ado, let me introduce and welcome Mayor French.
Thank you, everybody.
I think we're on. Can you hear me okay? First of all, it is important for me to convene this city council meeting and get it started here. It is an official meeting. We've never done this before in the history of Lake Forest Park. So I think we all thank the organizers and our friends who put this together. It's an important conversation for us to have sit down together and supposed to put this up against my chin. There we go. It's probably going to be too loud. I do want to really thank our PD and staff members who are here tonight. Chief Harden, Commander Adams, our clerk, Matt McLean, Finance Director Lindsay Vaughn, all the people that support you and us in doing our jobs. And they're instrumental in everything that we accomplish in this community. So yeah, let's give them a big round of applause. And I want to also note that it's bittersweet too, because as you know, our friend Chief Harden this is one of his last public events. He's retiring after 25 years. He has done an absolutely outstanding job for our community, and he exemplifies community policing, leadership, and strong connections to all of you, and particularly our young people in this community. So, Mike, Chief, we love you. Thank you so much for what you've done. Yeah. Need to check with Clerk McLean. Is there anything else I need to do officially? Okay, thank you. With that, I will hand the mic off to Deputy Mayor Furtani, and we'll come back around the horn and I can give my little speech missive, small thing, 30 seconds later. But I'd like to let the council tell you what their visions are, what they're working on, and all the exciting things that they do. Deputy Mayor Furtani.
Just for one moment, just a little bit of housekeeping. Sorry to interject. I want to remind everyone that if you picked up that flyer on your way in, you've got a little reference sheet as to who's who up here. If you don't already know your council members, which I think many of you probably do, but just in case you want the reference, we do have the back of the flyer there for you. And as folks speak up here, we have a 3-minute limit, but you know, we're going to be generous. We're not going to cut you right off. That's all I needed to say. There you go.
Well, thanks a lot. And thank you, Mayor. And thanks all of you for coming. It's really an honor to serve all of you on City Council. My name is Tracy Furtani. I'm the Deputy Mayor / Council Chair of Lake Forest Park. And vision. Okay, that's a good one. I think that I want what I would believe many people want, which is a sustainable Lake Forest Park in every sense of that word, financially, environmentally, and with the people in mind, with the community building. And so I love this space because it really does exemplify what we're about here. It's quite unique to a lot of communities. A lot of communities don't have a central point to rally around. And so being able to support this in any way possible, that's actually kind of been a pet project of mine. In terms of the council, we've just recently hired a climate coordinator. And I know that basically we have our beautiful mural of the climate of Lake Forest Park over there. The climate coordinator is going to help us implement our climate action plan that the council passed a couple of years ago. And we're looking not just for greenhouse gas mitigation and all the usual things you hear about, but also building community resilience. So in the times of natural disasters, in times when we are in a crisis, who do we turn to? What are the lines of communication? How do we make sure that people get the services they need during those times? That's going to be kind of a focus of how we're going to start framing our debate. And hopefully you'll be participating in it. It'd be wonderful to hear what your perspectives on community resilience are. All right, in terms of like other stuff we do, you know, my fellow council members do a ton of things. For a city of 13,000 plus, we punch way above our weight in this area. We're in fact involved in many different regional bodies. I'll just pick two. One of them is the Sound Cities Association. What does it PIC stand for? Thank you. Public Issues Committee. I should know the names of my own committees. But that's the one that basically makes recommendations to larger bodies like the county council and the state government about issues that affect the municipalities. So even though, you know, we're a small city, we have the same weight as somebody like Seattle or Bellevue or Kirkland. So the point is we get our voice heard there. So whether it's taxes or fees or even transportation issues, we get to basically have a say in that. And I'm really quite proud of us for being on that committee and being vocal. The second thing, and the last thing I'll mention, is the K4C, which is the King County Cities Climate Commission, which is, as the name implies, a body that advises the county on climate issues. We've been a member for many years now, and That's the body that helps decide how the Climate Commitment Act dollars are spent and how basically the allocations from the county go to our area here to literally help with climate mitigation and resilience. So another thing that I'm really quite proud of. I'd like to introduce then Council Vice Chair Larry Goldman, and he'll tell you a little about what he does.
Hello, everyone. I am Larry Goldman. I'm the vice chair of the council. I was first elected to the council in November 2021, so I'm just starting my second term. So thank you very much for your support, and thank you all for being here tonight. I'll start out by talking about kind of priorities, and I think the central theme is let's implement things. We've laid a lot of groundwork. As Deputy Mayor Fiorentani said, we recently hired a climate coordinator. Now let's start implementing the climate action plan. We've laid the groundwork for safer streets, but let's now start building some of these safe streets projects. Let's build sidewalks to schools. Let's do other things to make it easier for people to walk and bike around the city. We've laid the groundwork for affordable housing. We've passed some ordinances, but now what else can we do to make housing more affordable? We've been designing the Lakefront Park. That's one of the big projects I'm really excited about. It would be our first public recreational access to Lake Washington. Now we have to just get across the finish line with financing and get the park built. So that's something else I'm super excited about. So again, I think we're moving in the right direction. We just have to keep at it and let's build the things that are going to make this a better place to live. In terms of regional committees, I'll name three. The first, I'm the co-chair of the Seashore Transportation Forum. C is for Seattle, Shore is for Shoreline, and then LFP. So it's us three cities. It's a forum for us to talk about any transportation issues, whether it is roads, safety, public transit. It's an advisory committee. We hear a lot from partners at King County Metro, WashDOT, Sound Transit, and the like. Second, I'm an alternate to the King County Regional Transit Committee. This one focuses explicitly on public transit through King County Metro. Again, there's a bit of overlap there. Transit, I don't own a car. I took the bus to get here tonight, so that's a really big issue for me. And so just providing advice for King County Metro, hearing about some of their big projects so that way we can be a conduit where we can present information or concern that the city has to these agencies, and then we can inform the community, the city, as to what these agencies are doing. And then the third, I'm an alternate. Councilmember Ellen Saunders couldn't be here tonight. She's the primary for RACER. That's the Rapid Crisis Response Agency. That's our mental health crisis response system. Again, it's an advisory where we provide advice, information about what RACER's doing. We hear from them. We can, again, act as a conduit between RACER and the broader public. And so with that, I'm 4 seconds under, so I will pass the microphone to Councilmember Paula Good.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for coming. I really appreciate meetings like this, and it's something that I advocate for all the time is the council being more outgoing with information. And so I really hope that the community can come together and do more of these meetings. And I am also on a subcommittee with Joshua and Matt, and we are going to be working towards bringing more of these meetings out to the outer edges of the community, because a lot of you come here all the time and we love to see you, but some of the people that live in the outer corners don't ever get to participate in this, and sometimes they're left out. So we want everybody to be included. We want everybody to have a buy-in on what the city's doing. I'm also a part of our Budget and Finance Committee, and I tend to ask questions about monetary things. I try to be sensible amongst all of these high-flying wish lists of my code. They have great ideas. It's like, well, how are we going to pay for that? So part of my job is to make sure that we have the money and the wherewithal to make sure that we stay out of trouble with our finances. As far as another committee, I'm an alternate on the RIA 8 Salmon Recovery. And as many of you might know or might not know, I have a property that backs up on Bechetla Creek. So I am very concerned about wildlife and the salmon and things like that. So let's see what else. I mean, what I do with on council is I try to support my co-council members on what their ideas are, because what I believe in is if the citizens in our city want something, then I will try to make sure that it happens. But that's what my main concern is. I want the citizens to be able to have buy-in on everything that we're doing. So I'm pretty short on my time, but I'm going to pass it off to Josh.
Thank you all for being here. This is fantastic. I'm the most junior member on the council, the most recently sworn in, and so usually I'm the one near the stairs and in danger of falling off the stage. So I'm glad that you're protecting me tonight. I just got sworn in January, and I'm still figuring out how it all works. What I campaigned on was the idea of third spaces, like where we are now, and trying to bring that throughout the community, make it something that in every corner of the city, for a city of 3 square miles, there shouldn't be outer corners. And so, but there should be places where our kids can go and play in a playground, where you can walk to the corner and get a gallon of milk. And so finding ways to bring those sorts of things into the community, that everyone has the things that really define our community. I'm with Larry, I'm an alternate on the Seashore Forum, and one of the things that we've been working on together through that and through some other transit work is conversations about the future of the 372 bus and the transit connections up and down the Lake City Way and Bothell Way corridor, and how we keep our connection to Lake City and help and make sure, especially as the Fred Meyer goes away, as the Bartell and Walgreen have closed, and the food desert and pharmacy desert there has grown. People should be able to come to Safeway here. People should be able to get to Ostrom. The communities should stay connected. And so working with partners up and down through that corridor in other cities, the city government, county government, and community partners who are affected by these losses. Also did one of the things that was not, I had not hoped to have to do, hope would not be necessary, but wound up taking the lead on some of the city's response to the immigration enforcement surge that we saw, especially through the beginning part of the year. And the day after Renee Good was shot and killed in Minneapolis, started circulating a draft, and colleagues were very helpful in editing it and putting it more into a council tone than sometimes I write angry. But having something that ultimately bounced through our city council, the county prosecutor's office, state legislators, policymakers, ran it past council members in Minnesota, and to get feedback on and write something that would express our community's values and the value of community policing and the identity that we have shaped as a community, and to affirm that and assert that into the world. And we, on our own, definitely did not stop anything from happening in the Trump administration. But because we and other people like us raised our voices that way, I think we have seen things pulling back. I think we are changing for the better. And it was a for me, I mean, first resolution I'd written, and it was just a remarkable experience to be able to carry your voices like that and to feel like it really was shaping something out in the wider world. So thank you.
Thank you. So I've had the pleasure of being on council. It's going to be 10 years in June. So I'm surprised you aren't tired of me by now. But this last couple of years, I've been focusing on building up our path to financial sustainability. This year, I have the honor of being Budget and Finance Chair, and we are working towards that. And I think part of that is having an amazing community conversation. But that's been my big goal. I love this community, and I want to see us thrive. I want to see every individual, every business, every community group be able to thrive here. Specifically, things I want to do this year, healthy streets. We got that in, and we haven't had a chance to do the implementation. So, as Council Member Goldman said, it's an implementation process right now. So, working with our new Public Works Director, Nova Heaton, we're working towards how do we actually implement that program. So, how do we help neighborhoods define themselves? How do we help provide visual graphics, narrowing of streets, whatever it takes, so people know that those are neighborhood areas. You don't drive fast through them. You don't just wander through them. You don't use them as cut through traffic. And so trying to build that program up and create a process for which we can have neighborhoods self-identify and also reduce cut through traffic. Bringing into that artwork if we can, bringing into that some way for neighborhoods to self-identify with artwork or tree plantings or whatever it takes. Just being more creative, giving you guys a chance to say, this is our home, and our home includes the street. And we want our kids to play and bike there. And then beyond that, a city-wide safety plan. This has been an idea that's been tossing around my head, and had a conversation with, again, Director Heaton from Public Works, and she had the same vision in her head. So she's been working through kind of her vision. I've been sharing mine. I think it's going to come to a really good place. And we're going to have a really good way of being able to pivot quickly when we have an opportunity. We'll already know kind of what that area's safety needs are, and we won't have to go and spend time on studies and evaluations, but we'll have a blueprint for how to handle most of the areas in the city so we can jump on improvements as quickly as we can. And really sort of streamline and get rid of a lot of that red tape at that moment by doing it kind of ahead of time now. Historically, I've been part of the North King County Coalition on Homelessness. This last year has been challenging for me to be able to extend my availability beyond council and work. So I haven't had a ton of time there, but that is the sub-region that is in connection with King County Regional Homeless Authority. And that's where we have our ability to hear what they have to say and to say what we want to say back to them with what we want. And that is one of the venues where we were able to get our winter shelter. And that's so we were really quickly able to bring that to them and say, this is a need in this community. And the change happened rapidly, and we got a winter shelter now for several years over the winter. As currently it's an emergency shelter where it opens occasionally. We're hoping to get a permanent winter shelter. Also on the board of the North Urban Human Services Alliance as the city representative, and they are about the human services in the region and keeping us connected and aware of what's happening. And I'm going to say thank you. I'm over time, but I want to say thank you to every single one of you for coming. I want to say thank you to all the volunteers for our community groups, volunteers for commissions. The city doesn't survive and doesn't thrive without those of you who are sitting here today. So thank you all.
Thank you all so much for your thoughtful remarks. I hope that you all found that to be a helpful introduction and some good context for what's going to happen next, which is our Q&A.
I defer to them.
You sure did.
I'll make it very brief. So thank you everybody for being here tonight. It's heartwarming to see you all. I see people out here that I served with 25 years ago on some task forces and commissions, task forces, not commissions. And I've been rattling around here my whole life. You know, it's so exciting for us to have a group of involved people like yourselves, not seeing just the usual suspects, people that come out to the same events over and over again. I see new people here. This is wonderful. I'm so privileged to have a really, really congenial council. We have different opinions. We definitely have different perspectives on some things, but everyone approaches the problems with civility and respect. And I know you all believe in that as well. I spend my time, as it was today, I'm on the Sound Cities board, which is 1 million people, 37 cities. A small group of us represent a very large contingency of cities to make sure that your values and your opinions and your positions are brought forth with the juggernaut that is, and the 800-pound gorilla that is Seattle. It's a wonderful organization. Deputy Mayor Furutani talked about the Sound Cities pick. That's where the real work gets done, and it goes up to the board from there. I'm also involved in North City Mayors Association through the Sound Cities Association, Strong Mayors, and I was recently on Executive Xylai's transition team, which is a wonderful process. I have very, very high hopes for his administration. I think he's going to do a fantastic job. We have a lot of work to do going forward. My priorities have never changed. They are about fiscal sustainability, pedestrian and multimodal safety, making sure our environment is protected, and also the sense of community. My late father, who worked with some of you all back in the 90s on Blue Heron Park, clearing that many years ago with Mayor Dave. And I have to give a big shout out to Mayor Dave, Mayor Lotion, and Mayor Jeff, who came before me, for the inspiration they've given all of us and myself to move forward with the things that we consider important here in this community. That may change a little bit from time to time, but for over 100 years, it hasn't wavered. It's about the environment and sense of community. And I know that seeing all you here tonight is another reaffirmation of that we are committed to a civil discussion, having a commitment to the environment and making sure that we can find the balance between the growth that's going on outside on all our borders for that matter, and the responsibility we have to provide proper housing and affordable places for people to live. We don't want to see our young people leave, not be able to come back. We don't want to see our older folks have to downsize to someplace else. My parents downsized outside of this community. And that makes me very sad because I see it now as pushing my seventh decade on the planet here. I see it all the time. And what happened to so-and-so? They had to move out of the community because they don't have opportunities or it's too expensive. This council is committed, I know this, to making sure things are affordable and there's a balance to what the needs and the wants are of this community. And I thank you so much for being here. I really do.
Thank you, Mayor French. Sorry for that oversight. Now we're going to move on to the Q&A. So if I can have Diane and Alan. Alan, I actually can't see you. Oh, there you are. You're there. Excellent. So quick reminder, rules of the road. We're going to take questions from either side of the stage. If you have a question in mind already, I invite you to go ahead and pick a side and start to line up. We will encourage you to not make comments. This is not the time to make comments. This is the time to ask questions. If you have comments to share, there are lots of ways to do that, but we really want to get to questions tonight, and we want to get to as many of those as we can so that we can have a dialogue with the folks on this stage here. So I am at a disadvantage not seeing if there's anyone lined up on Alan's side.
Yeah.
There we go.
All right. I get to hold it. You get.
Oh, okay. Hi, I'm Ross Barsleg Benson, and I've come to believe that one of the most effective things that we can do for climate change and air quality, and one of the biggest qualities of our Lake Forest Park is to protect our tree canopy. And I know that it's important to plant trees, but planting small trees takes many, many years to produce much effect. And a much larger effect is being lost by ivy that's covering our trees. And so what I'd love for the council to do is to be creative and think about ways that we can help that. Because I know that there's a big group of volunteers, the Stewardship Foundation and others have gone out. But it would be wonderful if we could go to Sound Transit and say, look, instead of planting these 300 trees someplace that's not going to help us, provide us money so that we can hire 2 full-time arborists.
Question.
And my question is, and is that something that the council can get behind?
Right. I was volunteered to answer that one. One of my other duties, I'm the liaison to the tree board. The tree board is one of our city's volunteer commissions. There's 9 members of the community that serve on that. And a couple of things regarding trees. The first, they have made some proposals to amend our ordinance about what counts as an exceptional tree. We already have a fairly strong tree ordinance about preventing trees from being cut down or requiring that new trees be planted to replace them to maintain canopy coverage. And so the tree board has talked about, made some recommendations to council about increasing the diameters for certain species of trees to make sure it more protected to keep those trees, because it's the keystone species that provide a lot of biodiversity. Another thing we've talked about, you mentioned ivy, and we've done some cleaning parties. And I want to mention there's the King Conservation District, which Tracy mentioned being on the advisory board for. We pay property tax, and they have a pot of money. It's about $100,000 for the city that the city can spend basically on any conservation project. And so we might be able to tap into that money to do more of these in our park spaces, ivy cleaning events or other things to make sure that the trees we have stay healthy. So I would say those are the 2 of the big things that we've been looking at.
Thank you very much for that question, and thank you for that answer, Councilmember Goldman. Let's move to the other side of the stage.
Okay. Good evening. I'm Ed Coleman. I live on 180th Street just before it becomes Perkins Way as you go head up the hill. My question is revolving around some of the changes that are under consideration for some of the streets. We've heard in particular that that section of 180th Perkins Way where we are is being considered for becoming a one-way street uphill. And my specific question is, what is the process for involving the immediate neighbors who would be affected by those kinds of changes in properly socializing the idea before it becomes the way that we're headed?
I should probably field that. Thank you for your question. We've been talking about Perkins for decades. It's a connector. Some of you may not know this, it's a connector from the Interurban Trail, an official connector. There are 2 from the Interurban Trail down through Lake Forest Park to get to the burp.
Yeah.
Sorry. Thank you. There we go. And if I get too loud, please tell me to pull it away. For us at the city, it is about, there's a lot of questions here about the viability of that road. It keeps sloughing off into the creek. You probably see this. We've had every 6 months or a year, on average, we have a car upside down in the creek. Thankfully, no one has been seriously injured. We're trying to evaluate right now what the cost is to the city to rehabilitate that road, particularly on the upper end towards Shoreline. And the process will be absolutely something that's inclusive of the entire neighborhood. We've had a number of families have reached out to us saying, can we have this closed down and make it a linear park? I personally, and I may be disagreeing with some of my colleagues and some other folks in the administration, that I believe honestly that a one-way is not going to be effective. I believe that's going to be a challenge, but the study for safety is going to be what's going to dictate that when it comes down to pedestrian and car and access on the road. I, as a person who's lived here my entire life, would love to see that road being a neighborhood street where it is closed off to through traffic, which we have. We've just seen the numbers coming from Mountain Lake Terrace and Shoreline, massive numbers of condos and apartments that have been built there. And we're seeing the cut through going down that direction. Some people say, and I will dispel this myth right now, closing Perkins has nothing to do with traffic cameras. The question of Perkins is about safety and about our community's accessibility to the natural environment. It's a wonderful walking route. I see people walking it and riding it all the time. And it's going to be a community conversation. We're not going to take that lightly. That it's not going to be ad hoc closed off. At the same time, if we're looking at $2 million worth of road repairs, which I personally think it's going to be close to that, I'm no expert, we don't have that. We have an $800,000 street overlay program and we can barely pave parts of what we need to pave to keep our roads in shape. So my question to the community is, if you value, your tax dollars and you value safety and you value the green environment, having a road next to a creek is ridiculous, honestly. How many people think that's a good idea? I mean, it's not a good idea. And the reality is there is a sewer line in that creek. If a car goes off there in the wrong way, it could puncture that sewer line and we have a major, major problem. So I think it's a community conversation we need to have, but I would love to see that be a linear park and something that it's not to say people can't go there. You can have your neighbors and your friends come and join you, but let's not have the big trucks going through that are building the condos and all the dump trucks and all those folks that are going up there and degrading our roads. Hope that helps. Be back.
Thank you for that question. Thank you, Mayor French. Would you like to add to that?
Really. I don't disagree
go
with
right
anything
ahead.
you just said, but I just wanted to emphasize for the question about community outreach. I was really excited to be part of the hiring process for our new Public Works Director, Nova, and one of the things that I really appreciated from her in the interview and have appreciated throughout her reports to council is the community focus on the public works, on the staff end of it. I think all of us, Paula mentioned that several of us are working on community outreach plan on the council level, because that's something that's sort of not been as robust as it could have been. But the staff end of it is really crucial in having senior staff in the Public Works Department and elsewhere who are thinking about the communications and outreach part of the work, as well as the actual building stuff, which is important too in Public Works, but talking to the community and making sure that what gets built is what the community is hoping for, and that it reflects those community needs, has also been such an important part. And so I think you're going to be, I lost track of you in the lights, but there you are. I think you're going to be happy with how the process unfolds.
Thank you.
Hi.
Alan,
Oh, hi.
there we go.
I'm Groovy. I'm Kathy, Catherine, sometimes George. It depends on the mood. There were 5 kids in my family. My father called George, and that meant we better run. I have a couple things to say. One, this meeting is fantastic. It is wonderful. Thank you so much. 2, I was really excited just now to hear about the winter shelter. Thank you. Let's keep our temporary shelter, winter shelter. Yeah. And I have my youngest baby, who's not a baby, has worked many years with the homeless people, and that is a true need. My biggest point that I want to talk about is my question, okay. And I feel like I'm at a game show. What I'm looking for is road safety. There are many parts of that. Walking in front of my house is death-defying. I have 3 grandchildren. 2 of them, one of them is severely deaf. The other one is deaf. And I live in fear that they're going to go to the end of my driveway and not hear a car. I really do. So far, so good. Next, sidewalks. I'm going to come back to that. Sidewalks. I know we're working on it. We need it. I was talking to one of my neighbors today, and I said, I just want sidewalks. And she said, good luck. And she's been around a lot longer than I have, and I've been here a long time. Next is where can we walk it safely? We really need to work on that. I'm on Horizon View Park. I have 2 friends who've complained about what's going on at Horizon View Park. We have got motorized bikes. Oh, question. What are we going to do with the motorized bikes that are zooming around Horizon View Park? Question. What are we going to do with the motorized scooters that are zooming around Horizon Park and in front on the streets as well. Do people need to have helmets or not? I remember when my granddaughter was 10 months old and she walked on the park walkways. I'd be terrified to have her up there right now.
Yeah.
That's really scary. And I think I'm going to shut up now.
Thank you, Kathy. George, Kathy, whatever you're going by today. And I confess I actually mispronounced her last name recently, so I apologize. Yeah, so Kathy. So two questions. The Horizon View Park is seeing the e-bikes and the unicycle thingies, whatever you want to call them, monocycles. It is a problem. Interim Police Chief Zanella is working on an ordinance to bring to council for consideration. It's not just Horizon View. It's happening all over. I can tell you right now that when I talk to the 37 mayors around this, the Puget Sound region, every one of them has had really serious issues. And around the country, sadly, there have been fatalities. And the fatalities are largely in the teens. And that's just unacceptable. As adults, we need to make sure we find ways to make those kids obey the rules, be safe. To the question of helmets, that's a question of absolutely safety. We have an ordinance in Lake Forest Park that is you have to wear a helmet when you're riding your bike. It's full stop. King County, they have a very different opinion about that. And I believe it's an issue of public health. And I think we have a responsibility. It's different if you're out riding your motorcycle and you make a bad choice without riding a helmet. I'm sorry. Okay. But at the same time, when you're riding a bike and riding a helmet, then there can be some real issues. It's the same thing with our life jacket ordinance. If you're out on a paddleboard, you have to have a life jacket on because the person that tries to pull you out of the water in the cold could lose their life trying to save you. So I think it's a really important thing to recognize that we have all responsibility to each other, the helmets, the life jackets, et cetera. Interim Chief Zanella is going to be bringing that to council very shortly. And it is a problem. We're going to get some signs up there. It's a problem on the Burke Gilman. We see people going by at 35, 40 miles an hour. It's staggering. And it's a miracle that we haven't had issues, honestly, and collisions. And hopefully we don't. But I would say that with the leadership of Chief Harden, we have just, I believe, received our motorcycle, which is going to help or it's coming soon this month. It's going to help with that kind of enforcement. It's going to be not only traffic, it's primarily for traffic, but traffic is also about cyclists and other, multimodal things. We can't keep track, honestly. At the state level, we were hoping they would come up with legislation that would help tamp down these class 3 and beyond, and I won't bore you with the technical details, the ones that go really fast, and those are the dangerous ones. Find a way to regulate them and make sure that they're not coming into our country without proper licensing for people, because they are a motorcycle, in effect. There's a group of kids that ride up and down the Burke Gilman Trail, about 12 of them. There must be tweens, 13, and they're doing 35 miles an hour on these electric motorcycles. And it's a real issue that's not just unique to Lake Forest Park. To Kathy's question about sidewalks and pedestrian safety, I'm very well aware of 197th. We have a 40 or 50-year deficit in terms of pedestrian and multimodal safety. The traffic cameras, as much as everybody hates them, we'd rather they weren't there. The traffic cameras that are on 178th have been massively successful. More than a 10-mile-an-hour drop on that corridor on a 24-hour basis. To heck with revenue. We don't care about the revenue. We care about people's safety. But those revenues, which are 93%, I think, from outside our community, have to go under state statute into sidewalks, crosswalks, flashing pedestrian signals, those kinds of things. We recently hired a senior project manager, Mike Reed. Some of you may have met him. He is a rock star. He is working on getting some of these low-hanging fruit, if you will, Kathy, projects implemented. I can remember I went to Brookside in the 70s. They were talking about sidewalks on 37th in the 70s. It's still going on. We're going to get those. The priorities are going to be the elementary schools, both 37th Street by Lake Forest Park and by Brookside, and then other places like I will give a shout out to Kim Josen here, the 40th Street crossing, which is very dangerous. We all know this. It's very, very dangerous. And the other place that's a big priority is getting people from Horizon View side of our community across Ballinger Way to the town center, to Animal Acres, to those places, and not have to do it at 185th. 178th, that intersection has to change. Mike Reed is working on a program from the new roundabout, which is going to be implemented this year, all the way to Bothell Way for pedestrian multimodal safety. So I'm really excited that we actually have some money to do these things, which it's not general fund money. It's restricted under state statute, and we have people that are dedicated to doing this. So we're going to see some progress quickly. I really hope that you all engage with us about additional priorities. 197th is a mess. I see it every single day. I run up there. It's really important. And we have other vehicles to make that safer too. We can implement more traffic cameras for the people that cut through going over the hill. And that money goes right into the coffers of additional investments in sidewalks, pedestrian and multimodal safety. The issue we have with traffic cameras, we don't have the staffing to support the number of tickets. It's really a sad problem to have. There are so many tickets that are coming through. We cannot support more traffic cameras until we create a new program. So I'll leave it there. I'm very optimistic. We are working so hard to try to get things safer, and it can happen soon enough. It's been 30, 40 years in the making.
Thank you, Mayor French. That's an issue that a lot of people care about in the room. Thanks for that detailed reply.
And I may just want to add very briefly for those that didn't see. Oh, would you like to?
Yes, could I please? Okay. One of the things that when people come to council, they always ask about certain traffic areas that they want to be safer. And many times they get directed to the traffic calming group. And so when that started happening quite a bit, I decided to go and dig down into the traffic calming group and seeing how does that actually work? How does the process work? So the basis of that program is good and it's there, but there are some pieces missing. For example, there's multiple people that ask for the same thing. There are multiple questions about sidewalk, street, whatever, but there doesn't seem to be a tracking thing, a tracking mechanism really. So I worked with I first brought it to Tracy, and then we ended up bringing it to the Chief Harden, and then we ended up bringing it to Nova Heaton. And so she took some of the framework that I had provided her, because we need to track it. You all need to be able to go online and see which questions or which areas that you have that you ask for. You want a sidewalk here, or you want this, whatever you want. You should be able to see it online, see where it's prioritized, because they have to be prioritized. And then you'll be able to see when they're done. And there's also a GIS map there, but not everybody knows how to use a GIS map. So there should be some other sort of list that you can see. So I just want you to know that that tracking is in process with Nova, because that's where it should be. And hopefully we'll be able to show you where some of that traffic camera money is spent. Thank you.
One other quick note. We are also working on a crosswalk on Ballinger Way at 30th Street. So if you're aware of up there to the north, there's a undeveloped right-of-way. And right there, very nearby there, Chief Harden has been working on this for a while. And we're hoping we can get that implemented soon. Putting in a flashing signalized crosswalk across a state route, I can tell you, I could get my PhD in faster time than getting it implemented. It takes a long time, and WashDOT is a very, very slow moving organization. So the folks to the north, don't despair. There's going to be additional crossings coming up there soon.
And I just like to encourage anybody who's truly interested in these transportation improvement projects to look at the video of last week's council meeting, I believe it was, where Director Heaton presented her transportation improvement plan and how she plans on moving through that process. So definitely go take a look at that. Probably really get you excited about transportation projects.
Thanks for adding that recommendation. Yep. Let's get to our next question.
Hi, everyone. Good evening. My name is Hannah. I'm a resident, LFP resident, and also a proud owner of Always Summer downstairs. So I have thank you. I have a broader question, and that is around like there are a lot of projects that are going to be implemented this year and moving forward. And there was a conversation about like budget deficit that I overheard a couple of months ago. So just a broader question of like, what are some of the financial challenges that we face today as a city? And what is in the works to generate revenue? Like whatever the thinking is right now. I'd be, curious to know.
All right, thanks for that question. And, I think you're going to get 6 different answers here, but I'll start. So anybody wants to add on to my answer, please feel free. But fundamentally, what we have is a structural deficit. That is to say, our expenditures exceed our revenues. And as those of you who own businesses know, that's not really a sustainable business model. So the question is basically, what can we do? Can we cut expenses? Of course we can. We have done, with your help, a tremendous amount on that regard. So, I'll let the mayor speak on the closure on Fridays, but that's the most visible thing that's happened so far this year. My point, though, then is can we grow revenues? Well, we can do it in a couple of ways. We can increase, because of the way that our state has a pretty regressive tax system, let's face it, either sales taxes by, of course, encouraging businesses and actually filling this mall with vibrant and hopefully revenue-generating businesses. The other thing is to, of course, raise property taxes, which nobody wants, I want to emphasize. But unfortunately, we don't have that many levers. And so we got to have a serious conversation. How do we deliver the services as a city to you that you've come to know and love and expect, and still basically be financially respectful? That's a really tough question.
Yeah, go ahead.
And something I would add on is, and I'll try not to get too in the weeds, but depending on what the project is, we try to avoid paying as much of it as possible from our own budget. So for instance, with the Lakefront Park, the property itself cost $5 million. The city paid $500,000. The other $4.5 million was paid by state and county sources. In terms of building Lakefront Park, I think this was pretty recent, maybe just a week or 2 ago, but we got $2 million from the federal government that Representative Jayapal put into the federal budget. When it comes to the roundabout, that's the other big project we're doing, the roundabout on Ballinger and 40th. That money, a lot of it is coming from the state. The money that we're paying is generally coming from the traffic camera revenue because it's a road safety project. So for a lot of these projects, as much as possible, we're trying to pay for them either with other funds like state or county or federal, or we're trying to use special funds so that we're not dipping into the general fund.
Councilmember Riddle, do you have a comment?
Yeah. So one of the challenges is our money comes in and can only be spent on certain things in a lot of cases. So in some areas, it may feel like that there's a lot of money there. Maybe even it feels like there's extra money, but it can only be used for a particular purpose. And as you heard before, we have a structural deficit, which exists in our general fund, general operating fund. And so sometimes you see things and some look good, but the reality is what keeps this city functioning is the fund that does not get fully funded through property sales tax and that sort of thing. So that's our big struggle, is in that position. The others we can kind of make work. We can get matching grants, things of that. But for operating, nobody gives you grants for operating. Operating funds need to be reoccurring funds for reoccurring needs. We want to make sure that we're sustainable going forth. So that's the one that's a big challenge. I think that's the one where we have to really find ways to bring in and increase that revenue and really look if there's anything left in reducing expenditures, but we've done a fantastic job of revisiting that over and over again. And I don't personally believe there's a lot of fluff in there left to take out. So it's really a look at increasing revenues in some imaginary way that we need help with.
And one thing I'll just add to all of this, I don't know that we're actually going to get 6 different opinions up here. I think we may all be in pretty much the same place. It's a choice that the state has made for us. It's not, I think sometimes people hear about the idea of a levy or about a structural deficit, and it sounds like someone did something wrong. And this is the way that the state has designed the revenue system for cities. In November, Kenmore is planning to run a levy lid lift. Mount Lake Terrace is planning to run a levy lid lift. Every city does this. It is how the revenue system is designed to work. It's not how I think any of us would prefer it was designed to work. And every year when the legislature's in session, we go and talk to them about it. And so far it hasn't changed, but we can keep asking.
Just for historical context, since we were incorporated in 61, we have not had a levy lid lift. And especially since the new 1% cap in 2001-ish, we have not had a levy lid lift. So we've been living with these ultra restrictive revenue growths that are imposed by the state. And we haven't had an opportunity to kind of make up that ground before. So.
If I may.
Yep.
It's a real challenge. When I first started volunteering with the city back in the 90s, the city was starting to have hiccups in terms of financial sustainability, and questions arose whether, we're largely dependent on property taxes. And without the economic development that some other communities have enjoyed, i.e., shopping malls and a really vibrant commercial base, it's been sort of a slippery slope over years. And I'm not going to sugarcoat it, folks. I mean, we're looking at in 2.5 years, we're looking at some real challenges fiscally. And the reality is, y'all see the inflationary pressures on your wallet when you go to the gas pump, you go to the grocery store, you go wherever. Imagine that and triple it, because that's what's happening in government sectors right now. And I don't know what the reason is. I can guess, but it's the inflationary pressures on the government sector and the impacts to a small community like ours are really devastating. And we have done so much over decades to try to get our reserves up to a place that they're sustainable, get our fiscal procedures and policies in place to say these funds are specifically bucketed for these purposes. And some of those things are done by state statute. But if you think about, and I'd love to give you a number, and I can't do it off the cuff, and I never will do math on TV. I'm giving a shout out to Director Vaughn over there, our finance director. The amount of our budget that is state mandated, things we have to do, it has increased dramatically over the 15+ years I've been involved as an elected official. And so when it comes to the closure on Friday, it's a really fair question. Why are we closing on Friday? We right now are looking at, in 2.5 years, at a really precipitous cliff. We have one-time revenues that came in from ARPA and CARE funds from the federal government. Those are one-time revenues. They're not recurring. My colleagues and I have been and colleagues preceding us were very, very careful stewards of that money and made sure that we bank that for future emergencies. But at the same time, it is unsustainable. Deputy Mayor Furtani said, the business model is not sustainable where we are right now. We cannot squeeze blood out of a turnip right now. We're really at the place where I don't see how much we can get much leaner, with a few exceptions. There's always room for improvement. But I would say that even with those changes, we're facing some real challenges. And the conversation going forward over the next coming months and years it really needs to be with you folks. The states, at the legislative level, the state has given us, basically said, you're stuck with this 1% increase per year. Do you know that's $33,000 a year that we can get in additional revenue off of property taxes? Our expenses for public safety in 1 year alone last year increased over almost $1 million. And that's not because we chose to do it, it's because of state mandates. So having said that, we have to be very thoughtful in our conversation about how do we get to where we're vibrant, we're sustainable, we're vibrant. I personally believe we're going to have to make some compromises when it comes to economic development. We need to make sure this mall is maximized in terms of its utilization. Full stop. I don't want to hear stories of people being squeezed by increased lease rates and increased fees. It's really not sustainable. We need to make sure that we also find ways to maximize our neighborhood business zones. We have 5 of those. I'm not saying there's going to be a Rite-In on every corner, although Rite-In seems to be gone for all intents and purposes. But think about it. The success of like Local 104, the success of other areas. We have 5 neighborhood business zones. Making sure that those business owners or the property owners have what they need to build up a sense of community and bring people into a coffee shop, bring people into whatever, an art gallery, whatever else, and not be beholden to one very large property owner.
Thank you, Mayor French. Thanks for all those thoughtful responses. We are going to move on to our next question on Alan's side.
Good evening and hello, council members. Thank you for coming out tonight to share information with the citizens here. My question is about the Sound Transit bus lane that has been proposed for Lake Forest Park. I recall like two years ago, there was a large meeting at Lake Forest Park Elementary School with the then CEO Julie Tim, I think her name was. 400 people showed up. I would say everyone there was in opposition to the bus lane. It was astounding at first to hear about it. 400 trees cut down, a 9,000-foot concrete wall put in place. My God, you know, what big problem is this solving? Ultimately, it is to move people 2 minutes faster on buses that are halfway filled, spending 600, 700, 800, 900,000 now in this project. What a waste of taxpayer money. Ballard is hurting for light rail over in Ballard. My question is, I could direct it to Ms. Paula Goody, is can Lake Forest Park ask for the project to be scrapped? Just, you know, killed right now.
I wish. Well, you know, it's hard to stop a train as big as Sound Transit. And I don't think that people really understand the devastation that's going to be coming our way because, you know, it's out of sight, out of mind. A lot of people live far away from 522, so they don't understand. You know, you're right. I haven't seen more than 8 people on a bus, even during rush hour. So, you know, my opinion, I don't think that it's needed. You know, I've seen a study that shows that it's not needed, but it takes more than just a few people to speak up about it. I know that right now they're taking bids. They're probably going to be closing that at the end of June, I think. And they're probably going to have some big sticker shock when they do see that because you're right, 9,000 feet of dirt is a lot of dirt, a lot of diesel. There's going to be staging. It's going to happen concurrently, possibly with other projects. So it could be a big deal. But you know, we need our fearless leader. Tom?
Not to put me on the spot or anything, Paula, thank you for that. I think, it's challenging. It is part of a regional network. We've done an enormous amount of lifting trying to advocate for the community's values and needs. And it's a very bitter pill to swallow to think that they're going to be spending ostensibly, I mean, in 2021 dollars, I think it was $561 million on that section of the Stride 3. The loss of trees, of course, is a big challenge. At this point, where we are is, my understanding is expectations are, I think the property acquisitions have closed. No, was there one left?
There's a whole scoop of people on 158th Place, and they're all in opposition right now. None of them have signed. So the process with Sound Transit is they cannot submit for any permits until every property that they need has a possession and use agreement. So they're
That's not
still
Sound
holding on.
Transit's policy. That's our policy. We said you will not. They wanted
Yes.
to submit permits on a piecemeal basis through our city, and we said absolutely not. You do not own those properties. You are not going to submit permits on behalf of somebody who's not in agreement with you. So to Paula's point, I don't know where we're going, what the process is going to be going forward. I know it's not going to be easy for everybody when it comes to the construction. It's a very, what we advocated for, and many of you did as well, was a complete network. Nobody is against mass transit. It's a question of dollars and cents. Making sure that the 145th corridor connects to 522 is a no-brainer to everybody. And yet they're doing turnouts on 145th because a very large group of commercial landowners cried foul and said, we're not going to cede our property to you. And so it's a real challenge. As part of the network, I mean, they've broken ground in Kenmore. They're going to be, again, submitting permits, I think, in Lake Forest Park here in the coming months. They will not be using city land or parks or anything else. It's contrary to the rumors that are going on out there. They will not be using any of our property for any of their staging or their mustering, if you will, if that's the right term. I'm not a contractor, so I don't know the terms. But I hope that the process will be as, I can't say painless, but as least injurious to everyone as possible going forward. And again, we're in the place where it is a project of regional significance. That means the courts will always align with them when it comes to the overall project. It's the same thing some of you may know this. The city lost a lawsuit against the county on the expansion of the Berkman Trail many years ago when they wanted to expand it really seriously wide. Fortunately, the county found some balance in consideration of the city. But if the Burke is considered something of regional significance, you can imagine that 522 is. And so I can assure you that everybody on this stage has done everything they can to try to find a balance and try to find the best accommodations for the landowners as possible, as well as the realignment. I mean, there's pros and cons to the west and east alignment thing, if you're aware of that. The tree question is another one that came up recently over and over again. They will be planting trees in Lake Forest Park. They will not be planting them in Snohomish or Skycomish or someplace else. Full stop. It's in our code. So that's going to happen. I think that the question that Ross brought up, I think you brought it up, the question of ivy, I think that's brilliant. I hadn't heard that before. I'd love to see remediation and restoration of some of our trees, and maybe they could provide us some funds to do that. We're good at planting trees around here. So maybe ivy is a harder work. And I'll give a shout out to Jim Mead, who we pulled ivy with the other day. So I'll leave it there.
Thank you, Mayor French. We have lots of folks who are still in line waiting to have their questions asked. And so in the interest of time and fairness, I'm going to move on. I know that there is a lot that we could talk about on this question for sure. Diane?
So, new topic. I'm Ann Udeloy. I live up in the northwest corner of town, about 2 blocks south of the Snohomish County line and about 2 houses in from Shoreline. So about as northwest as you can get in the city. My question's about emergency management. Here's the scenario. The Seattle fault has moved. A big SAISH has been generated in Lake Washington. It splashes up into Lake Forest Park, Kenmore, and back again. There's a couple of emergency responders on duty at the fire stations and at the police station, but all the city people are at home. Our emergency manager, Kevin Lowry, lives well east of town. Mayor, Deputy Mayor Furutani, you'll be walking into City Hall. It's going to be dark. You'll have minimal electricity access. You'll be using your flashlights. Where's the emergency management plan? Who are you calling? Who's going to be on duty? How are you going to check on where our electricity status is, our water status is, what fires are going on, who's on duty, who can come into duty? Where's the plan, and have you seen it in real life? Or is this a work in progress that isn't at that stage yet where you can pull it off the shelf and know what you do next?
Thank you, Ann. That's a great question. We do have a shelf-ready emergency management plan. Kevin Lowry has been spearheading the training for the teams, the disparate teams, both. For those of you who don't know, Kevin Lowry is part of NEMCO, which is the North Emergency Management Coalition. Ken, one more on that. Yeah, right. We have a lot of volunteers too. Ham radio operators. Shout out to our drone operators like Chris Clayson, Eco Naphausen, if I get his name incorrect here. Yeah. And there's some other folks that are in the mix in that regard. Of course, primary points of contact are PD. We have extensive backup systems. We did learn during a couple years ago, during it was the bomb cyclone, that some of our systems at City Hall were woefully inadequate, and those have been updated. So we're ready to go. And as a matter of fact, during recent power outages, we had people down there charging their phones and things like that. I think that your question is really important because we can never prepare enough. Some of you have seen me out there when we had the bomb cyclone. I was out there with our crew lead. I actually ran into him in the dark and we scared each other during the power outage during the bomb cyclone at Damani. And I ran into a couple of you folks out there on Brookside and a couple other roads in the middle of the night. People are out there trying to figure out what it is that we can communicate back. And the local, neighborhood, what do you call them? I'm spacing, like National Night Out, your groups there, where you have a community organizer within that group. Those are instrumental in moving forward when there's an emergency. We know it's going to happen. There's no two ways about it. At some point, but it's how we react to it, how we get together, and knowing your neighbors. That sense of community. Talking about knowing your neighbors, and it permeates everything. Emergency management, it permeates the discussion about the budget. It permeates all these things. Talking to your neighbors and knowing what you can do to help them. Elderly folks who are by themselves. We all know elderly neighbors who live alone. Those people have to be thought about right off the bat, because if it's a power outage and it's cold, they need support immediately. And that's the kind of thing that that is in our divided society, if you will, around the country. That's what we've got to come back together. And this community has always done that. They really have. It's amazing to me when we see, we have a flood, we have incidents like that. I got to know Sergeant Lehman, who's retired now from Lake Forest Park Police Department, in the 90s when there was a flood before we did the culvert down here on Bothell Way, because she was standing in her dress blues on Brookside Boulevard in 2 feet of water, holding a grate open. So I said, "You got bigger fish to fry," pun intended. "I will stand here in the middle of the darn road and hold the grate open for you so the water can get through and people can get around." But knowing who your neighbors are, knowing what the plan is, knowing where to go. I think about the 100-year storm. How many of you remember the 2006 100-year storm? I mean, devastating. 100-mile-an-hour winds. Some houses were out of, my house was out for 11 days. We had no power. And getting together with the neighbors, we had neighbors that were out of town. Folks got together, emptied refrigerators, cleared things out, got fuel to generators to the neighbors. Recent storm we had a couple years ago, I was dragging my little broken down 1960s Honda generator up and down the street to run people's refrigerators. That's what it's about in getting prepared. The city is going to take a lead. We have an emergency operations center down below the city hall with radios, communications gear. And the first thing that will happen is that the PD, fire department, and of course our emergency manager, Kevin, will be coordinating their response, knowing what the immediate emergencies are, and then getting out to the volunteers like NEMCO and other organizations to make sure that people are safe. We can do more though. Absolutely.
Thank you. Thanks for that question. Thanks, Mayor French.
Really quickly, we can certainly do better. And thank Ann for the question. I also want to thank those of you who came out to support NEMCO when Ken Moore had the thing on the docket about the consultant report that said exiting NEMCO may be an option. And so many people spoke up. They signed back up. We're working with Shoreline now to see if they want to join us. I think it's these regional coalitions that will help. NEMCO has an amazing van. If you ever get to go see basically the van that they've got, it's a mobile emergency operations center. It can center drones. It can center ham radio. It can do all these kind of communications things, which is going to be critical in making our response to any emergency unified and thorough.
And
Thank
very,
you.
very briefly, Kevin from NEMCO is interested in neighborhoods building up your own resilience, having your own emergency kit that serves the neighborhood. He's really interested in this. Director Heaton wants to talk to neighborhoods as well, and we're seeing some synergy between those two conversations and seeing what each neighborhood needs and getting it out to you directly for when you are disconnected from the greater emergency management network.
Thank you. Alan.
Okay. Hi, I'm Jolene and a CERT member, and Erica is too. Well, let's talk about money, honey. Let us talk about money. There are two problems we can solve with one solution. So let's talk about this, which I cannot read. It has been 7 years that one Mark Gary RUE reasonable use exception has been on the docket. 7 years. Back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. That is a lot of money that is drained on one person. And there's 3 other RUEs that are in process. So why don't we explore how much this has cost the city? That's just hours and hours and so much money. So I am calling for a moratorium on RUEs because those of you, reasonable use exception. And I created also for all of you a video and a podcast and a website. And there's a petition. I've got a petition. Most of you know about it, have made comments, but you probably don't know that it's been 7 years. And so that is a lot of money. And the other part is, why should the burden be on like the neighbor like myself to do 2,000 hours of research to defend my house from sliding down the hill? Should the burden be on the applicant who needs to prove they're not going to harm the neighbors and the environment, or should it be on the citizen? So those are the two things. Let's have a moratorium, because what's going to happen when you let these RUEs go through and they're harming the neighbors, and then those neighbors who are harms to the city, how much is that going to cost? So I think that's really important to do. And so, by the way, I in your inbox are some videos and describing this. For the rest of you, there's QR codes and a petition as well. Thank you.
Thanks, Jolene. Who's up?
Why don't we explore looking at the RUEs? So looking at the RUEs, how much does it cost? And really taking it those 7 years, looking at one, but there's 3 more. And should the burden be on just the neighbors to defend their safety from RUEs? Or should the burden be on the applicant to apply reasonable use exception? Do you want me to explain or you? So,
Okay.
oh, okay.
Yeah, I'd be happy to briefly, just because litigation and other legal considerations here. RUE's reasonable use exceptions. They're allowed. The state statutes say that under the Constitution, you should be able to build something on your property. We can disagree certainly about what that looks like. And this council, actually previous council, examined what a reasonable use looks like. We can't eliminate it entirely. It would be against the Constitution, honestly. It'd be a property taking. We could simply, it would be a property taking. I'll leave it there. The council previously, under the leadership of Deputy Mayor Bodie, she helped guide the council through the consideration of what is a reasonable use and came up with a formula which suits the nature of our community, which is far more restrictive, honestly, than many other communities. So I can't go too far into the weeds on this one just because there's legal nuances and I don't want to do law on TV, honestly. But I am sympathetic. It's something that I feel very strongly that there are certain properties that simply should not be built on. It's full stop. Steep slopes. It. Again, I don't say that for the applause, folks. I mean, I mean that very sincerely, and I know you agree with me. And we know that because of the housing crunch, developers and folks are casting about for anything that they can get their hands on to build on. And in some circumstances, they find themselves looking at a really cheap piece of property, and they feel like they can take advantage of the system and go from there. So again, I won't go any farther than that, but I will say I do believe that the code that we have in place that was spearheaded by Deputy Mayor Bodie, and I thank her for that so much. I'm sorry that she couldn't share in this conversation with us today. Makes me very sad that she can't be here with us. I think it's as good or better than anything I've seen out there in the region. Doesn't mean that it can't be improved. But at the same time, I would offer that anything that's pending, we have to be very careful that we don't, as a council, I'm risk averse. I mean, the buck stops with me, unfortunately, folks, and I'm very risk averse. Anything we do to change the code that impacts a specific property will get us into trouble. So we have to be deeply cognizant of that. And the broader conversation is a very important one. So I thank you for bringing that to our attention. If anybody else.
Thank you. Briefly, Councilmember Rose now.
Brief note on that. To your point, it's not retrospective, but one of the hats that I also wear, I'd mentioned before, but I'm the liaison to the Planning Commission. And one of the things that the Planning Commission is doing this year, it's on their work plan, is to update our critical areas policies, and so reasonable use exemptions are to when you have a critical area, which is steep slope, wetlands, creeks, things like that. And so, which setbacks and how you mitigate and how you address those things. You know that, I know. It's other people. And so they're going to be, it's a periodic update that's not keyed to any specific event, but it is just part of the thing that we have to do every now and then to stay compliant with state law. And so that is part of their work plan. There's going to be consultant work and opportunities for public feedback as well there. At the end of the day, all of that has to be rooted in the best available science. That's the legal standard that we have to follow. I know you know that. Everyone should know that too. But there will be opportunity for public input on that. And I don't know if the Planning Commission is going to be happy about me saying this, but I would encourage you to be part of that public comment and weigh in on that process as it unfolds.
Thank you. We are down to our last about 6 minutes, so we're going to move on to the next question.
Hey, so Maddie Larson, I live on 178th Street, and we live on 178th Street. thanks for the sheer volume of time you all put in to think about the challenges and opportunities that face our city and how to thread all of these needles. My question is back to the budget, and I feel excited that there's so many great ideas up here, and I know you haven't even mentioned all of the things that you're considering as a council, but what evidence are you using to prioritize these? Safe streets and the environment and housing and climate resilience and financial resilience. I mean, the new park. That's a lot of stuff when we have this, as you're not talking about numbers for this, cliff that we're getting ready to fall off of. But my question to you is, what evidence are you using? What models are you using to make decisions? And how are you sussing out what the unintended consequences are of any of your decisions? Turning Perkins into one way is going to totally screw up 178th. We can't walk out our front door without getting hit, literally. So I really want to know what processes and rigor you guys are using to test your decisions before you go off and say, this sounds great, let's do this. This is what everybody wants. I reject that as a process.
Yeah, and thanks for the question, Maddie. And to your answer, we had a council retreat at the earlier part of the year in which basically the council members were all invited to prioritize what basically the priorities of the council were. And that's one input point. The problem is going to be that what you're suggesting, coming up with a model financially for these decisions that we make, that would basically involve a huge amount of consultant work, which we're trying to avoid because, again, they're expensive. So in the sense that we rely on our wonderful fiscal staff, especially the financial department headed by Director Vaughn, she develops basically with her staff the cost of some of the proposals that we come up with. And that gives us a handle, at least a one significant figure number on what some of these things that we propose cost. And so we take that into account when we set our priorities as a council. And ideally, when the budget comes out later this year, you'll see those priorities reflected in that. So they've been tested in the sense that we've gone through our staff and come up with basically our best possible numbers. The question really is, are they reasonable? What we discovered about a year ago is that there are unintended consequences all the time, not of our actions, but things like the state deciding that the public defender's caseloads are way too big. That immediately tripled our public defense costs, our indigent defense costs. So the point is, trying to anticipate those things is a fool's game. And so we try to do the best we can. We tried to build in the cushion. When the mayor talks about the fiscal cliff, he's talking about that the city, I believe, requires a 16% reserve. That is to say, 16% of our operating funds has to be held in reserve for these kind of emergencies. We don't want to dip into that as much as we can. And so we're basically trying to anticipate some of these unintended costs that we weren't aware of at the beginning of the year by basically being as prudent as we can with our priorities. And so if we can prioritize the first, let's say, 5 things, I'm just picking a number out of the air, the 6th thing just doesn't happen. We basically say, okay, we'll keep that in the parking lot. We'll basically see about it next year when we have a better, clearer picture in the second year of the biennium, the second year of the budget, whether we can do that. So I know it's not a very satisfying answer, but we aren't financial experts up here. We rely on basically the information the staff provides us. I believe the staff does their diligent best to get the best numbers to us. That is our process, as imperfect as it is.
This is why these types of meetings are very important, because we can work on the financial part, but we need to know what the city wants for us to work on or what to prioritize, because it shouldn't be up to us. It should be up to you. So that's why we're starting a newsletter. We have a newsletter that's going to come out, and we'll be able to be more outwardly communicative with a lot of these things. And we hope to reach our furthest members, and so that we can get a buy-in from a greater amount of people on some of these things that are before us.
Thank you. Yep. Go ahead, Councilmember.
And we're looking at developing kind of more of a coffee with the council to have more opportunities for the community to come speak directly with us and to eliminate that barrier of the 3-minute comment where we can't talk back. So look for those dates to start coming out on our calendar.
And you can email us and invite, like, you don't have to wait for that. I think maybe I can volunteer everybody. I think if you email like city council email address on the website or jrosenow@cityoflfp.gov, I'll come sit in your living room. If there's like 3 or 4 people, that's better than if it's just, but I think I've had coffee with a lot of you who are here right now, and I'm happy to have more. And that's a big part of it also. It is. And then thinking about how we do that in more formal ways as part of the conversation that started at the work session last week, which you can watch the video of it.
That's a great segue, Councilmember Rosenau. We are at time, and in respect for everyone's time this evening, I'm going to close out with a couple of comments. One is, I'm so sorry for those of you whose questions we did not have time to field. A great reason to do this again. And as to your point, when we passed out this feedback form, as you all arrived, I hope you all received one. If you didn't, we can get one for you. Please take a moment to fill that out. Tell us what you thought of this format. Would you like to do it again? And also, there's an invitation for you to invite a council member to your neighborhood for another event, perhaps a smaller event, more intimate event, maybe a more focused event. So please take advantage of that opportunity. And as you all know, if you go to the city website, contact information is there for each and every one of the members and for the mayor. And so please take advantage of those avenues to get into dialogue with these folks, because they're here to serve and they're eager to hear from you. A couple more notes. The feedback forms. We also have a parking lot over here to the left where you can handwrite some notes if you have final comments that you want to capture in the moment before you go home and forget. Take advantage of that as well. And let's give a huge thank you to ourselves and to everyone up here on the stage. This has been very productive.
Well, and a huge thanks to you for hosting us and moderating us. Yeah. And I really want to make sure we give a big shout out to Sally Yamasaki and Sarah Phillips. Where are you? Yeah.
Woo, woo, woo.
Thank you for what you do for us.
All the volunteers.
And all the volunteers.
Many more to come. Last note is you're welcome to stay here and continue to have conversation until the Commons closes at 9 p.m. So continue to speak. Thanks, everyone.